Dan, yesterday I was asking the guys about Rio's time zone, and Paulie said it's an hour later. Is that how you would describe it? That Rio is an hour later than the East Coast?
Well, it's right now 11:36 Rio time.
Boom.
See, I think it's an hour ahead or an hour behind. Who says later to that question?
Oh, once again, the Ivy League education coming in. Okay. I'm surprised McLovin didn't say that.
Yeah, exactly. I also wanted to ask you, Dan, we saw something this morning. Was that to the Today Show, Paulie?
Yeah.
On the Today Show, Zac Efron, who's evidently the bee's knees, was talking with the gymnasts, and they went absolutely berserk. Have you run into him at all yet?
I saw him yesterday, but I didn't know if he'd already been over to see Simone Biles because I know that she has a crush on him. So I saw him, and he was over at the broadcast center, and it was one of those where you sort of do a double take. You go, that guy looks a lot like Zac Efron. And then you go, that's Zac Efron. And then I'm thinking, if I sent a text to Paulie, but then I thought, gosh, I hope he doesn't put it out on social media because I didn't want to ruin the moment for her. But they had this already pre-planned that they were going to be able to have him go over there and congratulate her. So it worked out, and they got their money's worth with that coverage with Zac going over there. It's pretty cool that he did it and surprised her. So yeah, did a little drive-by yesterday and got a chance to see him.
So did he want to be down there, or did they literally bring him down there just for the meet and greet with Simone Biles?
I don't know. I'm assuming that he wanted to come down and pay it off, that they had developed a friendship through Twitter. And I don't know if it's one of those that, like Leslie Jones, the comedian, she wanted to be down here when they extended the invitation. With Zac, I have no idea if NBC says, do this or else, or he had some project with NBC that down the road that he had, he said, I'll do this for you. I think he was just doing it because it seemed like a pretty cool thing to do.
Any other celeb sightings, Dan, down there?
Eddie Redmayne.
I don't even know who that is.
McLovin, you know who Eddie Redmayne is, don't you?
Are you kidding me? Yeah, we both share an affinity for Stephen Hawking.
So he won an Academy Award, Ross.
Oh, nice. That sounds important.
Yeah. All I know is there were girls waiting outside this hotel because Eddie was there, and they were going crazy. So I'm trying to think. Let me see. Well, I did see Leslie Jones, the comedian. She thought I was Jim Lampley, so she said, "Why does everybody hate you?" And I said, and then she goes, "Oh my gosh, you're not Jim Lampley. You're Dan Patrick. My bad." She goes, "Well, by the way, why does everybody hate Jim Lampley?" And I go, "I have no idea." So that's about it. That's my big sighting was I was confused with Jim Lampley. So
nice. We want to get your thoughts on McLovin's poll question today. What is it again, McLovin?
Okay, so their players were named in the Al Jazeera PD report have to talk to the NFL or face a suspension. So our question is, if you were one of those players, would you talk to the NFL or not talk to the NFL, even if it means suspension per the NFLPA's position?
Well, what are you hiding? If you don't talk and you could be suspended, it feels like the NFL's overreaching on this. But that's what I don't understand. If I have nothing to hide, then I couldn't care less about talking to the NFL. But if I do have, there's some gray area here, then I probably wouldn't talk to them. But I know you had George Atala on last hour, and I'm sure he's given them some sound advice, and there's probably other people who are giving them advice. But I don't know what the NFL is going to do. I don't know what they'll ask them. I don't know what proof they have, what kind of evidence. Did they go to the mat for Peyton Manning? Did they go? I said this when it first came out, that they go to the mat to get Tom Brady, but did anybody ask for Peyton Manning's cell phone? Is there any correspondence that he had or his wife had? if you really are going to be fair to everybody here, then you have to treat everybody the same, and I don't think the NFL has.
I'm curious, Dan. Let's say Clay Matthews said, "You know what? I'm not talking," and he gets suspended, and he's doing it for the union, and he doesn't want to set the precedent, etc. What do you think the Packers fan reaction would be? Because I think on one hand you can say, well, the Packers would just support him because he's Clay Matthews, but he would essentially be picking the NFLPA over the Packers at that point, right, Dan?
Yeah, but Brady was picking Brady over the Patriots, because people wondered if this was going to get in the way and if he just did the right thing, and would they lessen the penalty? Would he be back sooner? So there were concerns about that when Brady was going after the NFL, and he was also doing it for the NFL Players Association as their battering ram. So, I mean, that Packer fan base is pretty forgiving. So I would think that if Clay framed it in the way of, I'm fighting for something that's, bigger than this, and I hope that Packer fans will understand what I'm trying to do, and how would you feel if you were in the same situation? If you can frame it that way, then maybe. But that fan base is pretty forgiving and would probably be in his corner.
Talking with the boss, Dan Patrick, here on the Dan Patrick Show. Ross Tucker filling in for the last day here on a Wednesday. We have another poll question that has to do with football movies. I am out of my mind excited to talk to Latimer from the program in 20 minutes. Did you watch the program, Dan? Did you like it?
I was not a program guy. In 10 years from now, then I'll probably watch it, but that's usually what happens. I'm 10 years after the fact.
What's McLovin?
So don't
what's
spoil anything for me.
McLovin, what's the football movie poll?
Oh, okay. If you could have a cameo in any football movie, your choices we came up with: North Dallas 40, All the Right Moves with Tom Cruise, Remember the Titans, Heaven Can Wait, Longest Yard, which you were in, Rudy, Any Given Sunday.
Oh, I would do Rudy. I mean, you have to be in Rudy, right? Even if I'm one of those guys who just brings in my jersey and puts it on coach's desk.
Yes.
Right?
I love Rudy. I think that's the right answer. I want to get a couple questions, Dan, on the Olympics. So last night, our women's beach volleyball team lost. Ross and Carrie Walsh Jennings, they lost. And obviously, we all want the American teams to do well. We want them to win. But personally, Dan, I watch all these events. And it's like, okay, Usain Bolt's going to win this. Phelps will win this. Ledecky wins this. Simone Biles wins this. The upsets actually make it a little bit more interesting to me because it feels like so often, even like the 110 hurdles last night, they tell you who's supposed to win, he wins. I mean, isn't there something refreshing or makes it more interesting when we actually have some upsets and doesn't just play out the way they tell us it's going to play out?
Well, are you more likely to watch women's beach volleyball now that the United States is out?
No, definitely not.
So
I will definitely not watch the gold medal game now.
But if they were competing, you would watch.
Yes.
So I think there are certain things. Now, from a TV perspective or NBC, you want to play the hits. So Simone Biles wins yesterday. She's won her 4 golds, but there's still the fascination of seeing the best be the best. Michael Phelps, we tuned in to watch Michael Phelps. Katie Ledecky knew she was going to win. I think you like certain stories. It's almost like in any other sport. We like those upsets in March Madness, but when we get to later on in the Final Four or the title game, that's when you want to get it back to the big schools, the big names, to win a championship. And I think we feel the same way, or look at the Olympics the same way. I want the greats to be great, and occasionally you'll get that upset or that unique story. But for the most part, I think you want to have people tuning in, knowing what they're going to see, or knowing the person they're going to see.
There's nothing NBC can do about it, Dan, but do you think it hurts Simone Biles and the gymnasts a little bit that we already know the results when we're watching them when, for Michael Phelps and for Usain Bolt, it's live, right? We don't know if Phelps is going to win that race or Usain Bolt's going to win that race. But for all the gymnast activities, it's, well, we already know she won gold or we already know she won bronze. I mean, I like that they show it in prime time because obviously everybody wants to watch it. I guess I just wonder if it hurts the amount of attention and publicity that those girls will get as a result.
I think they're finding that there's just this group that is going to watch. I mean, there's millions who are going to watch no matter what. Now, I knew that she won, but I still wanted to see because there were people who went over to it and came back and said, she was unbelievable. So even though she's going to win, it does take away a little bit, but there's still this fascination. I mean, people just love watching the women's gymnastics events. They just do. And so you're always going to get them locked in. But I watched even though I knew what the outcome was. So I don't know if I'm in the minority with that, but I was still fascinated to see it still comes back to you want to see greatness. And when you have this big buildup of can you win another gold medal, same with Phelps, you just want to tune in to watch, even if I knew the outcome.
Dan, last question. How close is Usain Bolt to showing up his competitors? Because I know, NFL guys get mad with Cam Newton in the end zone. Remember, Titans linebacker went after Cam, and that's happened. I just was watching the last race where he's kind of looking around. I'm wondering, at what point do those other guys get mad and be like, dude, stop showing us up. We know you're great.
Much like Cam Newton with his celebration. If you don't like it, then stop him. So Usain Bolt is an entertainer. They're Olympic champions, and we don't know much about them because they do what they're asked to do. Bolt is more than that. I mean, he made $30 million last year. The guy's a celebrity. He's showing. If Terrell Owens was running the 100 meters, this is how he would probably act. I think there's so much respect for how great he is that, what are you going to do? What are you going to say to him? Hey, stop doing that. He's going to continue to do it until somebody beats him. But one day that may happen, and then you'll get that moment where people say, "Yep, you finally, a little payback here, a little karma there." But I don't see it happening here.
Dan, always appreciate the time and really, truly appreciate the opportunity to sit in for you when you're out. Thanks so much.
Thanks for doing it. I appreciate it. And is Andrew Siciliano in tomorrow?
I believe that is the case, yes. Mr. Red Zone, Mr. Gold. Is it Gold Zone or Olympic Zone?
Yeah, he's doing the Gold Zone, I think, for the Olympics here. So, but thank you for filling in, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. There he is, Dan Patrick, the boss.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.